In the NBA, the game can change in an instant, but no matter how the action unfolds, you know DraftKings Sportsbook has your back. This week, new customers can score 150 instantly in bonus bets just for betting $5 on basketball. Win or lose, you get an instant dub.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Jenkins, Jenkins. Jenkins. New customers can get 150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code Jenkins. The crown is yours. Welcome to Jenkins and Jonez on the Volume Podcast Network. It is Thursday, December 14th. Jackson has allowed us our allotted 10 seconds to be friends off the podcast, so now we've begun recording. As always, Jenkins and Jonez, hosted by Dragonfly Jones, a.k.a. Tyler.
Hey, everybody, how's it good?
Jethro Jenkins, a.k.a. John.
What's that, Bubbas?
I'm Gardy B, a.k.a. Mike.
Motherfucking
Mike.
And as always, produced by the impatient and pugnacious Jackson Saffron.
Wow.
What's up?
Wow. What is pugnacious mean?
I don't even know what that word means.
It's a
Euro.
word.
It's a what?
It means confrontational. You're a boxing fan, right, John? Pugilist? P-U-G?
Oh, yeah. That's that.
Yeah.
Cool. Did not make that connection.
It's a lackadaisical word.
The etymology, bro. I'm telling you, man, it's so fucking helpful, dog.
Yes, that's a fact. I actually just did that because Maya was telling us she wants to be a sociologist, and we were explaining that sociology, like society, sociology, you know what I mean? And she was like, she looked at us like she was like, all right, bro, like, cool.
Oh, shit. Like, whatever, man.
Yeah. All right. We got to start, obviously. And just so everyone knows, we're recording this Wednesday morning. So if there's breaking news developments on suspensions or anything like that, we don't yet know them. But Tuesday night, Draymond Green went rock'em sock'em robot with Nurkic. Hit him with the spinning, flailing, backhanded fist. John is the fight guy. What would you call
I'm not an MMA guy.
punch?
That's MMA punch, brother. That's not even just boxing. That's not a regular punch. I think you described it accurately. I'd lean into
flailing,
that.
Backhand punch.
Yeah, the flailing, most important word in that, but for sure.
Guys, obviously, I mean, full disclosure, obviously we're a podcaster and producer mates with Draymond, which I'm not going to pretend that doesn't color the way I think about his NBA basketball career, just laying the cards on the table up front. But I have to say it felt like it may have been like a bit of a turning point last night. I think a lot of NBA people have been frustrated with what Draymond's actions have been, the last year or two. But it felt last night like I saw people start talking about legacy. Like, this dude should be remembered as one of the defining defenders in NBA history. And you start to worry that this is what he's going to be remembered for. Did y'all see that? And how do you feel about what this latest move of his does to kind of his legacy and reputation?
I mean, I think it just kind of adds more fuel to the fire, so to speak. I don't think anyone is like, oh, well, that's it, I'm done with Draymond. I think everyone was like, here we go again. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone was like, this is their breaking point with him. It's just like, bro, you've played 15 games this season and you've been ejected in 3 of them. That's madness, dude. 1 out of every 5 games you're getting ejected. And and the crazy thing about it to me is
20% ejection rate is
that's why.
What
is he shooting from 3? Is he shooting 20% from 3? He might be shooting higher on ejections from 3. But it's just we've been here before, right? And then I saw the post game and it was like he tried to sell us that it was an accident. I'm like, bro, we don't even need to do this anymore, dude. You don't need to lie to us anymore. We know this is what you do. You get frustrated and then you flail around and you try to say it's a basketball move when everybody knows it's not. So I mean, I guess now we just wait on the suspension. He got 5 games, for choking out Rudy. We'll see what happens now. So I mean, like I said, I don't think this moves the needle with anyone, on an extreme end of where, they're done with him. Like I said, this is par for the course with Draymond now.
Well, I'm sorry, John, to jump in, but what you just described to me was the most sickening feeling I had as a kid was when you thought your parents were going to be mad at you and they gave you the I'm not
just
mad at
disappointed.
you. I just expected better from you. You know what I mean? Just that resigned disappointment is almost like the worst emotion you could get in reaction to messing up.
3 out of 15 games is crazy. But we can't act like this hasn't always kind of been Draymond. He just was playing great basketball. Like, he got suspended from a game 6 for punching LeBron James in the dick. You know what I'm saying? A finals game for punching the face of the league for the last 20 years in the dick. The man
punched the league's top penis, bro.
He punched the dick of the league in the dick.
You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, so, but now the play, like, you're talking about, is he even shooting 20% from 3? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a question you can ask. And so that's where the issue is, you know, where, like, the game is. And also, as a dude who's won so much, I think he's just frustrated. This team
Clearly.
is not good. You know what I mean? This is the beginning of the end. That's what it looks like. A team 2 years ago was in the finals. Last year, they looked like they may have had a chance, an outside chance. Now they're just not good. And he just seems really frustrated, and it seems like he's acting out. Where Nurk is to the point where, like, is something wrong with this man? Which is crazy. But I mean, I think that there's a valid point people are bringing up. When Tyler threw it in the group chat, my first thought was, why? And I was like, you know, we're seeing so much of this now, more than hearing about one of the smartest minds in basketball doing great basketball shit. We see more of this now, and I think that's unfortunate. I don't know if it, for me, as somebody that, you know, hated the Warriors for 5-6 years because they were so good, saw how good he was, will ever forget that. It's stamped in my fucking brain. You know what I mean? But for people who aren't, like, you know, who aren't locked in like that, I mean, yeah, this could be what they remember him for, you know?
I always think of it
I
as
hope
like
not.
the Jay Leno zone. He's becoming a name that, like, people who don't watch basketball can use as a punchline for hitting someone where you're not supposed to hit them. You know what I mean? Like, like, I think reputationally that's sort of the danger zone. But, like, there's a coach I know and really respect who always says, losing is the cleanest mirror there is. Like,
Yep.
and you said it, John, like, everyone on that team, you can see the frustration in Steve Kerr when he's being who he is, which is an old white man complaining about how loud the music is. You can see the frustration. You can certainly see the frustration from Klay Thompson, but he's handling it the way he is. He's very internal. You see him, like, you can see him boiling that he's getting benched at the end of games, but he's handling it the way he does. Draymond is an extroverted, physical basketball player, and he is also handling the frustration in the way that he handles frustration. I think that's a good point as well. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he needs to sell this as a. I was saying this before we hopped in. Like, I think he needs to sell this as like a rock bottom turning point moment, and I don't know that he can do that. But, like, he has to sell that narrative of, like, you know, Tyler said, everyone watched that press conference where he said, "Oh, I didn't mean to punch him." It's like, well, there's not a lot of other things you could have been meaning to do, bro. Like, you know, I mean, like, I it's hard for me to buy that. And he needs to dig deep and sell all right, man, I get it. You know, like, that's got to be coming, because for them to have been the franchise in the league for a decade, and, like, this is the storyline now. This is what people are talking about with the Warriors, and that's not a good spot for anyone to be in, for sure. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's. I was gonna say it's just wild how like foreign bigs have been the ones on the end of his wrath all the time, right? Like, he kicked Steven Adams in the nuts. You know, he fucking stomped on Sabonis's chest. He choked Rudy out, and then he did this shit to Nurk. I'm like, dog, what type of Captain America shit is this motherfucker on? Like, what type of Olympics is he playing? Because it looked like he was doing some Olympic shit. It looked like he triple jumped over that motherfucker Sabonis chest, right? It looked like the shit he hit Nurk with, that was some discus shit, right?
Sure.
That was some discus shit. The motherfucking kick to Steven Adams was like some karate shit. The shit to Rudy, I don't think there's any Olympic sport you can just choke a motherfucker out. That
Just
was personal
wrestling,
right there,
just
right?
wrestling, just wrestling, baby. Yeah.
So yeah, bro, it's like, I don't know what type of
You're making it more sympathetic to me,
shit,
though.
but
You're making it more sympathetic to me because I don't fuck with foreign bigs either. You know what I mean? So
I think one reason it might be so frustrating because he's so fucking smart. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to basketball, and he knows how much they stink and how hard this season is going to be. Maybe more than anybody on that fucking team. You know what I mean? And that, and the way he is, that's how he's expressing his frustration. But, bro, I just feel like it's just interesting for me to see somebody who understands the game at this level be so silly consistently at this point in his career. You know what I mean? You're a vet, bro. You're a super vet, nigga. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't how you want to, lead a game.
The last thing I say about the press conference, and we're actually going through this with our son right now. You can't bullshit a bullshitter, bro. You're not gonna look at me and lie. I told every lie you could think of, including this specific lie. I didn't mean to hit that kid on the basketball court. I've told this specific lie, bro. Like, anyway, let's talk about. There's a lot of conversation online about the Lakers have confirmed that they will be raising a banner for the in-season tournament championship. It's gonna be what they call like I think it's called a perpetual banner, where there'll be like an in-season tournament championships banner that this year will be on. If they win it in the future, they'll add additional years to it. It's going to look different and be distinct from the actual championship banners. But there was still, that was like custom made in a lab bait for the worst basketball fans on Twitter to me. That was like, I mean, we had the like MJ would never have cared. We had Kobe would never have put up with this. Like, I don't get it. The NBA put their weight behind this thing. They clearly were going to legitimize it. There's no world where they would not allow some sort of memorial, some sort of tribute to be paid to a team winning this championship. But what did you guys think of the fact that they're going to hang one up and the discourse around it?
I feel like the one team that you can't say shit about hanging banners is the Lakers. Them and the Celtics, perhaps. But I just don't get why people are in an uproar about this. This is a new thing that the league is pushing. Of course, they want all the pomp and circumstance that comes with it, right? It feels like it started leaning into the whole, participation trophy culture bullshit. It started, you're right. It started crossing into those lines. And then you have motherfuckers saying like dudes like Kobe and MJ wouldn't have even cared about this shit. Like, how fundamental of a misunderstanding of those dudes do you have to think that they would not have cared about, beating the fucking 6 best teams in front of them, right? So I didn't get that shit. Like, motherfuckers were really saying Michael Jordan would not have cared. Michael Jordan wouldn't have cared about basketball games with money on the line. Do y'all know who the fuck Michael Jordan is? Like, that was just so wild to me. But like I said, man, it's something new that the league is pushing. And I think that it helps for sure that the Lakers, one of perhaps the flagship franchise of the NBA, wins it first, and that they post it, and, they're going to hang that shit in. And, the winners from here on out will follow suit there too. So it is what it is.
I think there's a lot of people that didn't watch those guys play saying that. It has to be. It has to be. Because MJ took everything. You know what I'm saying? Like his last year with the Bulls, then he won like the All-Star MVP. He wanted it all. He didn't leave shit for fucking nobody, bro. So of course he's flexing that shit. Are you crazy saying he wouldn't? But I mean, dude, it's a big deal. I think it was fun. You know what I'm saying? It was people were playing, playoff style basketball. Maybe the first person to hang the banner is weird, but 10 years from now, it'll be normal. You know what I mean? And I think they should do more than one a year. Like Mike said, I feel after that championship game, I haven't been that interested until, Christmas.
Yeah.
You feel me? So, hey, run that shit back or stretch this thing out. But yeah, definitely celebrate it. Why not? It makes no sense. You earned that shit.
Michael Jordan was bothered for a month by losing a fucking dice game to a uniform locker room manager in Chicago. And you're saying Michael Jordan wouldn't have gone absolutely nuts to be the first ever champion of a new initiative by the fucking National Basketball Association. Kobe Bryant had a dislocated finger pop back into place in practice because he didn't want to lose a scrimmage in practice. And you're saying these two dudes qualified their competitiveness with, how many decades of history is behind this championship? Like, give me a fucking break, bro. And what drives me crazy about it is this tournament was designed for these people. It was designed for these fans to have there be something that you're competing for in the regular season beyond just seeding and placement, which we saw last year means less in the playoffs than ever before. This tournament is for you rare steak eating crazy motherfuckers that rant about participation trophies. Like, I don't get it, bro. You just cannot fucking please those people. You know, like if LeBron and everyone in the NBA had been like, who gives a fuck about this? What would they have said? They would have said the exact same shit using the exact same characters. Michael Jordan never would have not cared about this shit. You know, like, it's just exhausting, bro. They're so stupid.
Bro, it's just it's Bron hate. That's what it all.
That's all it
to,
is.
right?
That's all it is.
All it is.
If it
That's
wasn't Bron, they
it
wouldn't be
was.
saying any of this shit.
Exactly. And when you reach the point where you hate Bron so much that you are going to just lie to yourself and say Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant weren't competitors. Like, it's time to reel it in, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because that is their whole fucking entire brand. MJ was a fucking psycho. Kobe had Mamba mentality. They were fucking voracious competitors, right? Like, fucking Michael Jordan made up a story in his head about motherfucking LeBradford Smith.
LeBradford.
Who the fuck is LeBradford
What
Smith?
is a LeBradford, bro?
He made up a story in his head because that dude was a rookie who gave the Bulls 37 and on the first game of a back-to-back, he made up a story in his head that LeBradford Smith slighted him after when they were shaking hands, and he told his whole squad, I got that kid tonight. And he went out there and put up fucking 40 in the half and then sat out. Like, bro, if this man is making up fan fiction about LeBradford Smith, I promise you that man would have been salivating at the mouth of the thought of going to Las Vegas and leaving there with everybody's chips, bro. I promise you, man.
And
That
when
man
Nike
never
told him, we're doing a commercial about you making history and winning the first ever in-season tournament championship, you would have been at the video shoot on time, brother.
Sometimes I dream. Here's me. You got to see I win the IST. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh,
They would have ate that shit up, man. Y'all out y'all goddamn mind. Just real to LeBron hate. And like, once you start writing fan fiction about, that's just totally opposed to who these dudes were, it's time to, come on.
Yeah.
Man.
The reason I think these people had never watched them, because you can't begin to lie to yourself about that if you watch them play. You know what I'm saying? These are people that just, that's why I don't, that's why I don't have that argument anymore, because I realized I wasn't arguing with basketball fans anymore. I was arguing with LeBron haters. You feel what I'm saying? So, fuck that.
What did y'all think of Stephen A. Smith's? I actually had a conspiracy theory that Zion intentionally mispronounced the word lackadaisical in order to distract from Stephen A. Smith's reporting that chefs in New Orleans are dying to meet Zion, and that the word on the street is that he will, quote, eat the table.
Stephen A. got to do better, dog. Flat out. I think that there is reason to be concerned that Zion is having these conditioning issues, right? I think that that's something that, has been brought to our attention. We got the that quote from CJ last season that seemed very out of character for him when he kind of threw shots and was like, guys got to take better care of themselves. They have to condition. We all knew who he was talking about. And that seemed out of line for CJ, but it seems like no one can get through to this kid. So they're going the public route with things, right? So I can see how frustrating it is, but we got to draw. This is still a kid, man. This is still a kid with the fucking spotlight of the world on. He's 23 years old, right? Yeah, and we're just going to say that man's going to call him fat bastard. Said the word on the streets is he will eat the table. Like, come on, man. Like, we got to reel it in a bit on that. Like, I don't understand. And to say that these are chefs that are saying this, like, how can you take the joy from a New Orleans man of eating New Orleans food? Like, how can you make someone second guess that? That's the best thing of living in New Orleans besides the people, right? The food. And you're going to make this man second guess that now. I wasn't rocking with Stephen A. on that one, man.
I think it's been kind of weird, the way people been talking about it for a while, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's merit to what you're saying. The kid needs to work on it. But like you said, we're talking about a kid, and how we talk about it is, we have to watch that. It's he actually called the man fat bastard.
Yes.
Like, bro, like where you know what I'm saying?
Said,
like,
get in my belly and everything, bro. Like, drop the cord and all that.
That's not it. That's not it. But I if you look at Zion's numbers the last two games, we talked about, is he even trying? Maybe his lack of conditioning is part of that too. Like, I worry about him. Let's talk about it in that way. Like, bro, this is a elite talent, a talent that we hadn't seen in a long time. We was more excited about him
Right.
Like, since the most excited player we've seen coming to the league, since Bron at the time, until like, this other guy, Wemby, pulled up, you feel me? So like, yeah, I mean, I think we talk about it like that, like calling him like fat bastard and eating the table is crazy. You know what I mean? I might, yeah, that's crazy.
I salute you both for being better men than me. I don't want to hear Stephen A. Smith
more?
talk about
You
he's
want more?
concerned for Zion Williamson. I want to hear y'all talk about it, but Stephen A. Smith, bro, I can't even imagine how disingenuous that would come off from him in particular. I don't know, bro.
All I'm gonna say is if Zion wants to clap back, that hairline, bro, like that's the gift that keeps on giving. You can have a field day with that, my boy. Just put it out there, Zion.
I don't know if Zion got that in him though, and that's what makes it harder too, because he ain't got that heat. He ain't gonna
feel
heat
like
Stephen
it's
A. up.
you
You
feel like it's
bullying, you
one-sided.
bullying. Yeah. You
Stephen
feel
A.
me?
wouldn't have tried Ant like that. I promise you that motherfucking much.
Nah,
Ant would have lit his ass up.
right. He in them cheeks. You hear me?
I do think like this is and I encounter this like in my job. Like this is one of the difficult things about sports is that like conditioning and weight is like a legitimate part. I mean, like for Zion, right? Like this, like one way or another, whatever happens with his career, his struggles with his weight and everything, that will be a part of like his on the court career. So even if you're saying like be as respectful of people as possible, which I do obviously like generally agree with, it is part of like it is what CJ McCollum, who I also don't think is like a reckless person who's out there talking shit on guys.
He didn't call him fat bastard.
No.
He didn't say the man will eat the table.
The damn table.
Right.
No,
Chefs
but that's
can't
the
wait for
difference.
Zion to pull up to the
Right.
restaurant.
But that's the
He
difference
wasn't
between
none of
someone
that.
who knows him and is concerned and like the carnival barker aspect of the, the like media ecosystem or something. But like, I remember there's a women's volleyball coach, like a legendary dude, multiple national championships, who is like very, very intense about his players' weight. And, it's like, I disagreed with it to some extent. I mean, like they would do team weigh-ins and all this kind of stuff. That stuff actually happens in college sports, probably more than people are aware of. But like he said, he's like, fat people can't jump. That's what he said to me. He's like, fat people can't jump. We have a jumping sport. Like fat people can't jump. That's that was his comment, and you're like, well, fuck. There is like a certain physical, like laws of physics reality, I guess, to what you're saying, bro.
To be a professional athlete, you have to take care of your conditioning.
Right.
Zion has not figured out how to be a professional athlete yet. He's playing like he was in high school. Like, I'm going to just do me because I'm fucking Zion. That doesn't work. You're playing 82 fucking games with the best athletes on the planet, bro. You have to take care of your conditioning. I get that.
Yeah.
But like when you're calling the man fat bastard and saying, get in my
Right.
fucking belly and he'll eat the table, you cross the fucking line, dog. And so you don't have to, pretend like you're concerned. I don't necessarily need that. It doesn't, but don't call the man fat bastard. You know what I mean? And say, chefs can't wait till he pulls up to the table. That's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. You know what I mean?
No,
I think
that's
Stephen A. said Zion's step pops hit him up. Said his step pops called him. And Stephen A. just doubled down on that shit again. He's like, I don't apologize for anything I said. But
Hey, I like to see that. Set that up, Matchroom. Make a nigga stand on them words. You feel me?
We are going through what I would refer to as the second renaissance. Italian people are getting their Linsanity moment with Tommy DeVito, the quarterback of the New York Giants, is now 3-0. Just a good Italian boy. You know what I mean? Did y'all see the picture of his agent that went around on Twitter?
No.
His agent looks like
You didn't see it?
I can't believe that.
No,
Hold on, I gotta
no.
send it. His agent looks like a Dick Tracy villain, bro. Hold on, let me.
Hold up. Stop playing. He like Two-Face out his motherfucker.
Flat top out this bitch.
He looks like a
Face.
caricature if you were like, what does the agent look like of an Italian professional athlete?
Does he have the zoot suit?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
What?
Please send me the
You
Oh my
gotta see the
God.
picture. You gotta see the picture.
He has a zoot suit?
Look,
Yo. He has
He has the hat. He's got the whole
the
shit.
hat. He got the little tilt on that motherfucker too. Bro. Oh, I love that.
so they have video after he scored a touchdown of the agent and Tommy DeVito's dad kissing each other on the cheek. The whole family section is doing the capiche fingers because that's his celebration. It's a special time, bro. It's a special time to
How
be
you
an
feeling,
Italian
Mike?
American.
You reveling in that? You reveling in that?
I love it. And then there was some dude who's like a sports writer who's like 3/4 Irish, 1/4 Italian or something, who got on Twitter and was like, you know, why is every other group you're not allowed to make fun of them? But people can talk down to Italians however they want. And the responses were just dozens of Italians, I'm sure, who are many of whom are racist in real life, being like, we don't give a fuck about any of that shit, dog. We're going to talk shit. People can talk shit. I don't give a fuck about what you're talking about right now.
We don't give a fuck what they got to say. I love that. I can get behind that.
Yeah,
Like
for
what
sure.
harmful things are being said about Italians anyway? Like I feel like anti-Italian sentiment died in like the 20s, in the roaring 20s. It's like what is the offensive shit that is even being said about Italians?
I mean, it's like it just depends on how seriously you take yourself, right, bro? I mean, like, and this is always the thing with like white people saying that, like, oh, there's another round yesterday of people complaining about like white people do this jokes. You know what I mean? It's like there's no harm that is coming to you out of that. You know what I mean? If teachers are in a classroom saying white people are bad people, I understand being upset about that. That's not what's happening. People are making jokes that don't have consequences on the other end.
You're not
that are
going to not
part of
get
a
hired
systemic
because of
pressure.
that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You
Your
feel me?
mortgage rates are not systemically going to be 1% higher.
You're not going to be
because of an Italian
redlined.
joke.
None of that shit. You feel me?
Right.
I ain't gonna lie. I saw a hilarious ass tweet that said, I don't care if you're Italian, just don't do it around me. That shit kill me, dog.
If you're Italian in the privacy of your own home,
But being Italian in public, now you've gone too far.
that's great, bro. But it's you know, there are like, you know, Italian anti-defamation groups that like, you know, view anything, any mob thing as like, this is negative stereotypes and all this other type of shit. Like, I understand you talking about anti-Italian sentiment, like, you know, my grandpa like lived that, bro. Like he grew up in New Jersey. Like there were like legitimately, if you were an Italian dude and you got caught walking home from school in an Irish neighborhood, you were gonna get the shit beat out of you for being Italian. So I understand him later in life. Like I wish he would not have spent so much time watching Fox News, but I understand him being like, you can't tell me I don't know anything about discrimination and people are trying to break my fucking legs. But like, you know, you also got to go to college and buy a house in the suburbs, right? Like it's not the same thing as when you talk about actual discrimination throughout history against other groups of people. And there is no one is facing a single negative consequence for being Italian in the world, except for Mike Tirico saying that he's Italian. And even then, the only negative consequence was just being made fun of for 10 minutes by the three of us. So,
Sir, you look like E40. that was the extent of our anti-Italian rhetoric towards that man. Sir, you are brown as shit. You look like a cashew. Yeah. I did not know that Irish and Italian folks had beef like that. I did not know that the potatoes and the tomatoes were going at it like that.
Weren't the
potatoes and
Irish
tomatoes, man.
weren't the Irish the Italians before the Italians? Like the hate was with the Irish and then they moved to the Italians. Is that how
The
it
Italians
was?
successfully institutionalized themselves, in part through like, you know, racial solidarity, but also in part through organized crime. Like,
Yeah.
so they successfully institutionalized themselves. But like, I mean, that's the thing about America, and it is why white people have been so infuriating to me as someone who was aware of my family's history. Like Italians used to get lynched in America, bro. Like there was a mass hanging of Italians I believe in New Orleans. Like one of the
What year was
biggest-
this?
I don't know. I'm sure it was the 1800s. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like,
Got to be the 1800s.
right. Yeah. Like I don't think it happened in 1970.
All this
But
shit
like,
was going down in
but
1800s.
it's like that's the thing that's like, it feels like in a humane society, that's the lesson we would have learned is like, maybe instead of like putting everyone through a period of hate, maybe like, what if we tried not doing that to people? You know what I mean? Like it feels like that should be the lesson. And instead the lesson that a ton of Italians and Irish immigrants, second generation immigrants took was, you know, we went through it. The Mexicans are going to get it twice as bad.
Yeah.
Like that's really, you know, like that was something my grandpa used to talk about. Like it broke his mom's heart when he learned English. He was the first one of her kids that learned English. And so he viewed that as a reason that like Mexican immigrants to Southern California should not ever speak Spanish. Was like, I had to go through this, so they should have to go through it too. And the argument in response was always like, if something made your mom cry, wouldn't you rather someone else's mom not cry about the same thing? Like, would that not obviously be signs that we're progressing as a society? You know what I mean?
But before the Great Migration, weren't the Irish the people that were hated first, like up north in the northern states, and then the Italians came and they were hated, and then the niggas came and everybody was like, fuck these niggas. Like, is that like anybody but the niggas? Everybody just teamed up to jump the niggas and box them into locations. Like, isn't that how it was though?
I think it was more regional than like chronological like that. You know what I mean? Like there was
depending
like
on where you're at, there was
Irish neighborhoods,
okay.
but there was like no Italians, no Irish signs or whatever. And yes, like that is the lie of American whiteness. Like when people talk about being white, it's like I've never identified with that because my heritage that I'm aware of is Italian immigrants. That's what I'm connected to. Mm-hmm. American whiteness is a concept created to allow Italians and Irish and everyone else to hate black people. Like those people don't have anything in common. They came from completely different countries. They hated each other. The one thing they could say is, well, we get sunburned really easily. Let's hate these people. You know what I mean? Like there's no like logical basis for it whatsoever. Shar and I went and saw the new Godzilla movie, Godzilla -1 last night. Have y'all heard about that?
Yes.
Woo!
No, sir. I've not heard it. It's fire?
Brother.
It's one
just
of them ones?
on the podcast recommending that anyone who has the ability to go see that movie goes and sees it. It was like legitimately heart-wrenching, like scary at times. It was like everything that you remember like a monster movie being as a kid. It's set in post-World II Japan, like after, they were defeated in World War II. And like the movie is really about the struggle to survive and reestablish your identity after humiliation and all this.
Wow.
It is deep as fuck.
That's deep as fuck.
So it was really, really good. The score was unbelievable. And the action scenes, like there's so much monster superhero type stuff out there that you kind of feel, and I say this as a fan of those movies, you kind of can feel a little bit like numb to the big destruction scenes. But there's a scene of Godzilla in a city that's like, I don't know that I breathe for like 3 minutes. Like, Shar and I were like, we had our hand on each other's legs or whatever. We were both like, oh, I might be gouging your thigh right now. Like, let me chill the fuck out, bro. It was really, really good. And John, I didn't fall asleep in the movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think the last movie I didn't fall asleep in was what's the one with Matthew McConaughey? The space one. It was long as shit too.
Interstellar,
bro.
That's like 2009 or some shit, right?
It's around there.
That was before. Yeah, John has not seen a movie without falling asleep.
Interstellar.
It was so good. It was so
2014
good.
to 2015.
Yeah, it was so good.
But Vinny was born in 2013. I don't think I've seen a movie in theaters since then that I didn't fall asleep for at least like 2 minutes of, and I was just
yeah.
And we saw it on a weeknight too, and I was still that locked in.
I fell asleep in like Bill Street. The James Baldwin. I fell asleep, and that shit was good. As good. Bill Street. I fell asleep in that for about a good.
That shit was beautiful. Dog.
That was beautiful. In 15 minutes, I was mouth open, nigga, head back, looking at the fucking stars. You hear what I'm saying? Nigga, I woke up like, this is great. You know what I mean? Like, bro, great movie. I fall asleep in anything, but yeah, that means a lot. Though that's crazy. I'm gonna tap in for sure.
Okay, before we get to This Week in Hippity Hop with Dragonfly Jones, we do have to discuss a special nominee for the Hater of the Decade. Someone DM'd this video to Tyler and said that they'll unsubscribe if we don't talk about it. You don't have to threaten us.
You gotta take care of the homies
to talk about to talk about the funniest shit that we've ever seen. There was like a very typical back and forth between two random people on Twitter, and one of them created a song that will live in infamy. I'm retweeting it on the Jenkins and Jonez Twitter account right now, so if you haven't seen it, you can go. But gentlemen, why don't you describe the song and what occurred in the video?
That man. Okay, so this is the funniest quote tweet I think I might have ever seen in my motherfucking life on Twitter. But this dude tweeted some dude, right? He made a video talking about how he ain't fuck with Gold Link. This is a rapper. I think he's a rapper from Pittsburgh. And, Gold Link said that weird shit about Mac Miller when Mac Miller died, about how Mac Miller like stole his old ideas and all that shit. It was just some
Which
weird
is
shit.
Funny because Gold Link stole a verse from Smino. and it's well known within the music business. So so shut the fuck up, Gold Link. But go ahead.
yeah. Gold Link a weirdo a little.
He a weird ass dude. Yeah, go ahead.
But anyway, the dude made a video talking about how he ain't fuck with Gold Link, and so the dude replied to the dude who made the video about how he ain't fuck with Gold Link and was like, what? This is how it looks when someone isn't living their dreams or something like that. And this motherfucker lit this dude up. Like, he made a video called "Shut Up, Bald Nigga," and he was just lighting his ass up. He went to that man's Twitter bio and fucking picked apart everything this man was doing with his life that he listed in his bio. Clowned that man, called him old and bald,
called
and
him weak, called him weak nigga.
Look, and I myself am an old bald podcaster. Like, those shots were coming directly at me, but that shit was still hilarious. I've had rappers say worse shit about me, right? Rappers have been calling me broke and say they're gonna fuck my girl my whole life listening to them. So, the shit like that rolls off your back. But that shit was fucking hilarious, dog. Like, I legitimately, my chest was hurting the first time I saw that shit, dog.
Bro, calling somebody a bald nigga, even if, he got a beard, you know what I mean? All that shit. Usually that balances out. But firing somebody up for their nose and being bald, 10 out of 10 every time, bro. You can't miss. And he just started off, called him bald nigga like 17 times at the beginning. Bald nigga. Shut up, bald nigga. Bruh. So funny, man. And also, bro, don't fuck with these kids. Yo, you an old nigga, bro. Don't argue with these kids, bro. Hey, they are better at the internet. This man made he had the time, bro. He made a whole song and video to fire your ass up into oblivion. You don't have a response, bro. Somebody said you have to get Gold Link to tap in. Gold Link can't save you. It's over for you, bald nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's over with.
Shut up, bald nigga. A really regular Twitter skirmish and end up with someone destroying your entire life in a video that now has 3.1 million views.
He was skydiving. He said, I skydive when I'm bored. What do you do? I think I'm living my dreams, bald nigga. Like, it was just, bro. Man, it's crazy. Mutilated this man live on the timeline. You feel what I'm saying?
What's crazy is he mutilated him so bad, people didn't even jump in. There are still, so the video that we're discussing has 3.7 thousand retweets, 1,400 quote tweets. The tweet of the bald dude that he's making fun of only has 22 quote tweets. People didn't even bother jumping in, bro. It was just like the definitive thing was said. I'm just going to retweet that.
They in the mentions, and in the mentions, they just saying, bald nigga. They're quoting the man, bald nigga. Shut up, bald nigga. That's all they just quote, homie. There's nothing to add, bro. It's over with. Crazy.
All right. Damn. Let's get to... And maybe 10 years from now, that video will be the This Week in Hippity Hop.
It might be an instant classic.
Let's get to This Week in Hippity Hop. Tyler, take it away.
Oh, yeah. All right. So in This Week in Hippity Hop, rapper Lil Wayne released his classic album, The Carter II, an album that is perhaps the pinnacle of perhaps the best second act in rap history. While Weezy was no newcomer to the rap game at the time, this was his fifth album after all. The Carter II at the time felt like a coronation of sorts. You see, in order to have an in-depth discussion on Weezy, we have to realize that there are two distinct acts in his career, before the first Carter dropped and after the first Carter dropped. So let's take it back to the Genesis, the BC, before Carter era, and work our way forward. So, to be very, very clear, Weezy was always a star. Everybody just hadn't caught up yet. From his very first appearances on early Cash Money releases as a teenager, it was quite clear that this kid was special. I want everyone listening right now to pause this podcast, run to Apple Music or Spotify or YouTube or wherever you stream your shit, and go listen to Block Burner off of the Hot Boys Get It How You Live album that was released in 1997. That's Lil Wayne's solo track on that album, and he was 14 years old when he recorded that. 14. Go listen to that and come back. We'll wait. Okay, no, yeah, you heard that shit? That was a 14-year-old. Like I said, Weezy always had it. He always was a star. The star power, the charisma, the humor, and just the flat-out incredible rapping ability and distinct flow was always present in his music. He has said that Missy was a huge influence on his music making, and those dots connect quite clearly, as you can see the melody in his flow, the humor, the sound effects, how he just get in the beat's pocket, because yes, Missy could rap her ass off and go crazy. It's all reminiscent of her. But above all else, Wayne's early verses were fun. He probably has the most entertaining verse on Cash Money's breakout album, 400 Degrees, where he chuckles mid-verse like the teenager he is at the thought of how much richer he is than the grown men listening to him on the rich niggas at the moment. During Summer 99, when Cash Money had two monster singles in BG's Bling Bling and Juvenile's Back That Ass Up, Weezy steals the show on both. Late 1999, Weezy would go on to drop his solo debut, The Block Is Hot, and it was cool. A year later in 2000, he drops his second solo album, Lights Out, and it was aight. He'd go 2 years before dropping his third album, and in that 2-year span from 2000 to 2002, we unfortunately saw the downfall of the Hot Boys. We could probably do a whole pod on that, but to keep it short and simple, contract disputes, unfortunate addictions, and legal problems and prison sentences led to the Hot Boys, who were Cash Money Records' entire talent base basically disbanding. So Cash Money was on the ropes, and Weezy, in a very bold declaration in 2002, where he wanted to convince us that the Cash Money flag was still flying high in such a tumultuous time, decided to name his next album 500 Degrees, a very clear play on Juvenile's 400 Degrees. Now, Juvenile was still on Cash Money at the time, but kept his distance and was going through the motions to fulfill his contract and get out of his deal after speaking publicly on the funny money business that Birdman had pulled on him. And even though 500 Degrees is a very blatant title that leaves little to the imagination, Weezy left even less up to interpretation with the jab that he threw on his Squad Up freestyle on the Oh Boy beat, where he flat out told Juvie he ain't fuck with him. So weeks before he was set to drop 500 Degrees, Weezy wanted to assure us that Cash Money was stronger than ever, and his next album was going to top 400 Degrees, the greatest album that the label ever produced. And well, it didn't. 500 Degrees was a dud, a very underwhelming album. This was by no means the end of Cash Money, though. Big Timer still kept shit afloat with hits like Still Fly. Birdman had a heater with What Happened to That Boy off his solo album. Juvie's swan song album for Cash Money gave us the monster single Slow Motion. But after that album, Juvie was gone. Cash Money now just consisted of Birdman, Manny, and Lil Wayne. It looked like those 1999 summers would probably never happen again for that label. So let's fast forward from 2002, the year Wayne dropped 500 Degrees, to 2004, the year Wayne would drop The First Carter. In the span of those 2 years, something very unique happened that forever changed the landscape of rap, and its name was 50 Cent. 50 Cent pretty much single-handedly shifted the business model of rap. In 2004, if you wanted to be a rap superstar, you needed to be a two-sport athlete, so to speak. You had to kill him on the mixtapes and you had to kill him on the albums. You had to be a legend in two games like Pee Wee Kirkland. Gone were the days of labels creating artificial scarcity and forbidding artists to put out free music. Now, if you wanted to be a god in this rap shit, you had to flood the streets. And all the top dogs circa 2004 were doing that shit. Kanye, T.I., 50, G-Unit, Dipset. There was even an up-and-comer named Young Jeezy in 2004 who was following that 50 Cent blueprint and building his buzz through classic mixtapes before dropping a fucking meteor of an album in 2005 like 50 did. Shit, even Jay-Z dropped a mixtape. It was to promote his Reeboks because that dude will never ever rap for free, but still, even Hov recognized. Now, I want to be clear, 50 and G-Unit were not the first rappers to do mixtapes. Plenty of rappers would drop a mixtape here and there between albums, but 50 turned that shit up to 10. He wasn't just giving you one mixtape between albums, he was giving you like 3 or 4. There was a new business model in rap of flooding your music, and rappers had to pretty much adapt overnight. However, Weezy already had the mixtape aspect of this whole model down. His Squad Up and Drought tapes went crazy and had a cult following. The question for Wayne was never could he kill a mixtape, because he absolutely could. It was, will he ever give us an incredible album? And 3 albums worth of underwhelming evidence had a lot of us thinking this dude was probably just going to be one of those incredible mixtape rappers who could never really put a good album together. But the Carter changed all that. It was an incredible album where it finally came all together for Weezy in a major way. So this album right here is the start of Weezy's second act. Weezy could always rap his ass off, but there was a new swagger here. There's a palpable sense of hunger, a palpable sense of urgency. He tells us on the intro, 20 seconds into the album, that he has his back against the wall and his guns up. He makes it clear on songs like Miss My Dogs that he's thrown his label on his back by his lonesome, and no one has ever been better suited for the task than him. He's extremely open on this album of his awareness of the loads he has to carry now as the new man of the Cash Money house. But the sentiment here is not some woe is me shit. Weezy lets us know throughout the album that his scrawny ass shoulders were built for this moment. He was born ready for this shit. You know that moment in the 2000 finals when Shaq fouled out and Kobe closed that game out, and there's that moment when Kobe looks over at his bench and does the "don't worry, I got this" motion? The first Carter feels like an audio version of that moment, with Weezy motioning to Baby and Mandy that he got this, and that the Cash Money dynasty is not dying as long as he has breath in his lungs. He also makes it clear he doesn't just want pats on the back acknowledgments as just simply a good rapper for this piece of work he's offering us. He wants the crown as the best rapper, the crown that he felt Jay-Z left up for grabs after retiring a year earlier. The best rapper alive since the best rapper retired, he christened himself on Bring It Back, the lead single from this pivotal album. So, after being an underground mixtape legend from his Squad Up run, Weezy finally slays the dragon of creating a great album with The First Carter, an iconic album. It's in the rappers. It's in the rafters. To this day, I don't think he's ever given us anything harder than Birdman Jr. It's a Hall of Fame album, right? So already the savvy mixtape veteran, Weezy wisely decides it's time to go to the mixtape big leagues now, and he hits up the mixtape Adam Silver or David Stern, since it was 2005 back then, who was DJ Drama, and he tells him it's time. The result is a classic mixtape, Dedication, and the man floats all over that shit. So now the buzz is building. There's kind of a collective, hey man, building with rap fans right now about this guy. This dude is really on some other shit. That Carter album wasn't a fluke. This is new, improved Weezy we're hearing. So now we finally get to the Carter 2. A modern masterpiece. Manny Fresh, who had produced 18 of the 21 tracks on the first Carter, had split with Cash Money by this time for the same reasons Juvenile did. Funny Money, Birdman shit again, of course. So we get a new slate of producers, a new sound. The first beat we hear on the opening track, The Mob, is from Heatmakers, who at the time were basically the in-house producers for Dipset. T-Mix, the in-house producer for Suave House, is responsible for a lot of classic records from 8-Ball and MJG, produces a handful of tracks, including the fly-in, fly-out interludes and hustler music. Wayne enlists relative newcomers, The Runners and Cool and Dre as well. Robin Thicke produces their collab on this album also. So Carter 2 has the most expansive sound any Lil Wayne album has had this far. We've got T-Mix providing that Memphis shit, The Runners and Cool and Dre providing that Florida shit, the Heatmakers providing that New York shit, and Robin Thicke providing some white guy R&B dude shit. So Weezy touched all bases on this album. But above all else, when you tally the tracks from the Carter, from his Dedication mixtape and Carter 2, that was 73 tracks that Weezy gave us in 16 months, with very, very few misses. A precedent has been set. Weezy was going to flood the shit out of us, and the Weezy flooding model was going to be a model many rappers emulated, for better or worse, for years to come. There's a strong case to be made that the do-it-yourself and do-it-a-lot work ethic that was so foundational to the blog era isn't as prevalent without Weezy serving as the shining example of the spoils that come with successfully executing that strategy. On the first Carter album, he was letting us know he was coming for the throne. On the second Carter, he was asking what the fuck was taking everyone so long to bow to him now that he was comfortably there. So yeah, Carter 2, man. Carter 2 was not Weezy's supernova.
Bravo.
Thank you, man. Thank you, sir. So yeah,
you be writing
Carter
the fuck out of those intros. To these
hey, I love this rap shit, dog. Thank you, man. But yeah, Carter 2 was like not Weezy's supernova moment. I want to say Carter 3 was, right? Like that's when he did a million, first week. That was when his star was the brightest. The Carters were a bit of a slow burn. The first Carter, because the thing is, like, there was not a lot of anticipation for that. We had kind of like gave up on Weezy giving us, any album that was, going to hit. Like the first Carter album did like 100,000 first week, right? Second Carter album, we were, after we heard how, fire the first Carter was, after we heard how fire Dedication was, it doubled that shit up. It did like 240,000, right? Still good numbers, but like I said, he wasn't the megastar that he was there. But Carter 2 like solidified him. It was like, bro, he is really, really rapping now. Like, he is, expanding his horizons now that, man isn't here. He's topping it on all types of beats. And it just felt like a christening. It felt like a coronation. Like, bro, this is like the start of like the best second act that we might have ever seen in rap. And I truly do believe that. I don't think that Weezy is the greatest rapper ever. I don't think his discography is the greatest ever. But I don't think that there is ever a rapper who had a better run that I've seen from 2004 with the first Carter to 2009 with No Ceilings. That run that Weezy had, it was the hottest hand I ever saw in rap. Everything he touched was just fire, right? And he worked his ass off. He was giving us like 50, 60 tracks a year and just not missing, bro. Never saw anything like it.
I remember like people would talk about how Wayne only went to the club to play his music. You know what I mean? Like he wouldn't go out like other people did. He would stay up all night making music, go to the strip club, play his music, and see how like that was his work ethic, bro. Mm-hmm. Every day he was in the studio. So dropping, I'm wondering what didn't get dropped. You know what I mean? Being that he would drop 50, 60 album songs, like he's making a song a day. You feel me? But I remember where I was at when I heard Go DJ. You feel me? Because I feel like we all wanted Wayne to be like, it wasn't like we were like rooting for him to do. We know you got it in you.
We love the mixtapes, but the albums were duds, bro.
Like I mean, for like exactly. But like for us, like we was waiting for the Carters. Even though the other two were trash, because we've been listening to them Squad Up mixtapes forever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Downloading my thing was LimeWire back then. We was
LimeWire, Kazaa, all that.
Yeah,
shit.
waiting 2 days to motherfucking download the album. You feel? You know what I'm saying? But it was worth it. You feel me? But I was listening to Squad Up all the time. We was playing that shit, the CDs all the time. So when the Carter dropped, okay, hopefully this is the one. Like he got the chance to drop 2 trash, like basic ass albums. I don't say trash, basic ass albums for us, and we were still captivated because he was so good. And you brought up the fact that on the Hot Boy shit. But like, dude, BG was fire, nigga. Like, I think BG was good enough to drop an album today and I listen to it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it was a super group. Everybody in that motherfucker.
Dude, Turk was
cold.
Was cold, and he was like, Turk was cold. You feel me? Like, dude, it was crazy. And for me, when we would listen to those albums in high school, we would always be talking about Wayne with the sound effects and all that. Like, who is this little
Hop out the
nigga
back of the Hummer with something that go.
Right.
Brrr,
You
right?
feel me?
Like,
we was reciting that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with Ha being as popular as it was, we were Wayne fans. You feel me? So when the Carter came and he dropped the Carter, and I heard, "Hey, go DJ," I was in the fucking gym. I had my motherfucking fanny pack shit on with the motherfucking Discman shit. I'm looking around like, yo, I'm like tweaking. You know, hitting my, like, the homies like, bro, this shit go crazy. You feel me? So I remember that was like, for me, that was a moment where like he figured it out. He cracked the code.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I understand the Carter too, like that's when he became a superstar. But for me, when he grabbed hold of the game and was like, nigga, ain't nobody fucking with me, was Dedication 2. Dedication 2, nigga, that, bro, he switched everything. There's no all these mixtape rappers, you know, the people that blew up off mixtapes, and I don't think that exists. When that happened, I was more interested in mixtapes, you know what I mean, than I was in actual album drops. I don't give a fuck about the album drop, you know, album you dropping. These mixtapes niggas dropping were way better at the time for like a 10-year period, you know what I mean? Right. Dude, but the Dedication 2,
Dedication
nigga, like,
2 went crazy.
Bro, we was playing that shit
he was
for like,
sparking the blunt in between tracks like drama. It's too easy. Give me another one. He was in his zone, dog.
Bro, it wasn't there one where he dropped like 3 or 4 beats on the album or some shit. And he was just like on a song and he was just going crazy. Like, and then like, but I mean, all the way up to Louisiana, all of that. You feel me? Where mixtapes were what I was playing. I wasn't playing nobody's album. If it wasn't a Wayne mixtape, fuck you mean? You know what I mean? Or a mixtape in general. But he sparked that mixtape, that 10-year mixtape run. I know you talked about how 50 Cent was the person that, you know, really popularized it. But for country ass niggas in the South, it was Wayne that, like, you know, I listened to Lil 50, you know, the Lil 50 mixtape. You feel? I listened to it. But Wayne, like, nigga, bruh, if you weren't playing Wayne in your shit, a Wayne mixtape in particular, what was you on? You know what I mean? It like spoke. It's kind of like, I think Mike talked about how J. Cole speaks for these kids. You know what I mean? Where like, you might not necessarily like J. Cole. If you like J. Cole, that means something to other kids.
Right,
if you're a J. Cole fan, right?
It's just
bro, if you ain't
playing,
if you ain't playing Wayne, what the fuck is you on? You know what I mean? Like like, but yeah, bro, like he was that 10-year span was so special, and I feel like a lot of people or rappers got opportunities that maybe didn't have backing that could make a mixtape because we were taking mixtape seriously because of Wayne. You know what I mean? So
yeah, he for sure changed the model. You know, something interesting that I feel about 50 and Wayne, like I feel like they're forever intertwined because of kind of how they both played a part in the mixtape boom. I also feel like something that benefited both of them very much in their stars rising was they came along right at the time where regionalism was dying, right? Mm-hmm. And 50 was very, very New York with his shit, right? Mm-hmm. But he would rap with a Southern flow. He would rap with a Southern twang, like, you know, I'm from in Wildwood, but I use country grammar, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he would, you know, flip his shit Southern style. He was, you know, rocking with West Coast beats, right?
He was singing on songs like similar to Ja, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So like 50 was like this very New York rapper, who flowed Southern at times and who was on West Coast production. He was like all things to everybody, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I think my favorite 50 track ever is Rodder Music. And that shit is West Coast as fuck, produced by High Tech out of Cincinnati. And I think that Wayne benefited in a way too, because we hadn't really heard a Southern rapper rap quite like Wayne was, you know, from the Carter on, right? Like there was a different swagger there. Of course, there's the rumors that Gilly wrote from. I don't buy that shit for a second.
Ain't no fucking way, bro.
Ain't
Gilly
no motherfucking way.
Yeah. No shots at Gilly. He can
yeah,
rap.
I love Gilly, right? But I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it.
Yeah,
it was just he. And you know, he was very much aware of it. Like you know, he said shit on Carter too, where you remember the skit where he said some motherfucker ran up on him with a camcorder and went to battle him and shit. And he was like, "Look, man, if we ain't gonna do this for no money or nothing." He's like, "I know y'all think I can't rap because I'm Southern or whatever, right?" Like he was very much aware of kind of, you know, the modes and shit that he was breaking. And something that was always like kind of stuck out to me that was not Southern of him was how often he used sports references, right? Like that was just something the Southern rappers didn't do. You didn't hear Outkast and Trick Daddy and Scarface and UGK making sports references, right? Like that was like Jadakiss and Fab shit. You know what I mean? Like that was very up top of him, and I loved it, right? Like that's one of my favorite things about him is the sports references. So I feel like, you know, Weezy, and he was very New Orleans too. I'm not at all saying he switched up. He was New Orleans as fuck, but he had a swagger that was kind of like the swagger that the NYC mixtape guys had.
He held his nuts like NYC niggas did. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I mean, coming out saying I'm the best rapper since the best rapper retired, bro. That's an enormous statement from a Southern dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I won't say he's the best rapper ever, but I would say during that time period, there wasn't a rapper better. You know what I'm saying? Like, that motherfucker was the coldest nigga doing it, bro. And couldn't nobody hang with him. You know what I mean? If Wayne wasn't on your shit wasn't cracking, bro. And that's just what it was at the time period.
Flat out. And also, bro, like, there's so many of Wayne's sons right now. There's so many of his sons out here right now. Like, like, you know how they say like life emerged from the primordial ooze and shit. I always kind of said there was like a promethazonial ooze that a lot of rappers evolved from. Because, you know, when Weezy got on his slurred, you know, syrupy, no pun intended flow, when he got on that lean, right? Like, bro, that's where Young Thug comes from. That's where Playboy Cardi comes from. That's where Little Uzi comes from. You know what I'm saying? Like, Prostitute Flames that dropped in 2000, that's the first Young Thug song ever, dog. If y'all aren't hip to that, go YouTube that shit. But yeah, it was just an incredible run. Like I said, I think it's the best run I've ever seen in rap, and it was very influential. It shifted the business model. And like I said, he's still got some sons out here who are very much, you know, kind of got their whole swag from that run he had.
The only comment I would make is life evolved out of the primordial ooze into more and more complex organisms, and we may be evolving backwards into single-celled organisms in the music landscape. But
that could just be us being old, though.
Yeah,
that
and
could
none of
just
them
be
touching Weezy, but
yeah, it could just be me being an old dude for sure. Tyler, that was awesome. Thank you so much to everyone for listening. That's our time for today. We will be back with a really special, fun interview episode on Saturday. And then our next regular episode on Monday. We will see y'all then. Bye.
bye.